Since ON1 Photo RAW 2026 has been released, a lot of people have been asking, Chris, how do you make a cutout using the layer masking system? And I think we all understand that the new masking tools inside of ON1, they present a little bit of a challenge and maybe even confusion. But today what we're going to do is take a look at how you can actually start to cut out your subjects inside of ON1 Photo RAW. So let's jump in. All right, so here we are inside of ON1 Photo RAW 2026, and you can download this image by using the link in the description box below if you want to follow along. So first thing that we're going to do is just create a color fill layer. And this is just going to give us a backstop or a background that we can kind of work off of. All right. So to do that, we're going to come over to layers. If yours is collapsed like this, just click on the word layers and then it'll expand this little area. Down here at the bottom, you're going to have some icons. We want the third icon, which is the paint bucket. And when you click that, it's going to give you a color selection option. On Windows, it should look really similar to this, but on Mac, you should get exactly what I'm getting. You may be on a different window. It doesn't really matter what you get here. Just choose a color and hit OK. Now, that color is going to cover up your entire image, which is good, but we don't want to see this color right now. So we're going to do two things. The first one is we're going to grab this little blue rectangle or whatever color you chose. We're going to grab that thumbnail and we're going to drag it underneath our main image here. And then we're going to hit the little circle to the left of your color fill. And that's just going to turn it off. So when we paint away on our main image here, we're just going to see the transparent checkered board. And that's what I want to kind of talk to you. So how do you actually paint away the background and select the subject? Well, what you're going to do is come over to your image thumbnail, and to the right, you're going to have a little rectangle with a circle in it. I don't have that because I already clicked it, but if you haven't clicked that little area so far, you'll still have the rectangle with the circle, similar to what we see here on the color fill layer. So if I click there, it's going to open up our masking properties. Now, your masking property window may be floating around in here, or you may have a masking property nested either on the right side or the left side. Either way, it's going to open your masking properties when you do that, and that's where we want to be. So the first thing that we want to do is we need to kind of work backwards if we're going to work inside of the actual layer mask to do this removal. So I'm going to come over to mask layers. I'm going to hit the plus icon, and then I'm going to use the quick mask AI brush. Now, if you're on one of the later versions of ON1 Photo RAW 2026, then you're going to have this little default option. We want to start with the default option. So I'm going to click this, and this is going to activate my quick mask AI brush. And so now if I hover over the image, you can see it starts allowing me to select different aspects of the photo. So I am going to click and drag a rectangle around the car. And that looks like it did a pretty good job at selecting it. And then I'm just going to let it go. And once I have the car selected, I'm going to come up here to the blue check mark and I'm going to click it. ON1 is going to erase the car, and it didn't do the absolute best job that it possibly could have. So it's time for a little bit of cleanup work. And this is just based off of each image. Every image is going to do something a little bit different, but the process that I'm showing is going to be pretty much the exact same. All right. So to clean this up, I need to click on my mask layers to expand this. What I'm going to do is come over to the plus icon, and I'm going to come down to the brush tool. And then I'm going to choose subtract. Now, for what it's worth, when you use the brush tool, you can really use either one, subtract or add, but subtract is what we want to do because I want to continue painting away the car. It sounds backwards, but when we're all done, you'll see how this all works out. So now that I have the subtract option selected, all I'm going to do is paint in here and clean up the selection to make sure that I get a good selection of the car. Now, you're going to want to zoom in, but for the sake of today's tutorial, I'm just showing you really quickly how you can do this. You definitely, based off of what you're masking and selecting, you're going to want to zoom in and make sure you're as precise and accurate as you possibly can be. But for me, I'm not going to worry about that just for demonstration purposes. All right. So forgive me for not being terribly accurate with this selection. I just want to show the technique and the principle here. All right. So we'll say that this is good, and we'll leave it at that. We're going to say we have a perfect selection. I know I don't. All right. Don't put that in the comment section. That being said, what we're going to do now to make this whole thing work is we're going to come back over to our pixel layer or our image layer, make sure that we are still on the masking property or the mask for that layer. And then we're going to come up to the very top here where it says target mask. And if you're not familiar with target mask versus mask layers, I have a video in the description that you can definitely go and watch after this one. So I'll click on the 3-line menu here. And when I get that, I'm going to click on invert. And now I have created a cutout of the car. And so the reason we made this blue color fill layer earlier is because I need a matte. So that way I can like really start to clean it up. So I got my cutout, but maybe I need to modify this. And I'm noticing, okay, I'm missing some spaces right in between here. And so this is where that brush tool comes in handy. Earlier, we were on erase. Now I'm going to go to paint. And you can change that by pressing keyboard shortcut Shift plus X. And that will just switch between paint and erase. Or you can come up to the top and click paint or erase as appropriate. And then all I'm going to do is paint over that area. And you notice that I'm now getting the car back. All right. And maybe missed a little bit in this tail light. And we'll even come under here, come over this area. Looks like it did a pretty good job around those tires and everything else. All right. Remember, I didn't make a perfect selection. You can definitely make your selections a lot better than what I did. Now, if you need to get in here and really clean up, you can hit Command and plus to zoom in, and you can see I have like these weird halos going on around the vehicle. So I'm going to change over to erase, and then I'm just going to paint this away as best as I can, just like so. And this is going to make the image look a little bit better, make the cutout look a little bit cleaner. And every photo is going to respond to this technique differently. So some images, if they have very precise edges and ON1 can detect them, then you won't have to do as much cleanup. Now, again, for the sake of the tutorial, I am not going to make this perfect, but you can definitely see how you just have to come in with an eraser and clean this up. Very similar to what you would have had to do in Photoshop days in years past. So if you're familiar with compositing inside of Photoshop, it's the same idea here. You make a mask and then you have to clean up the edges. But I'm going to hit Command and 0 to zoom back out, and I will clean up this bigger edge here because the next step that I want to show you is how to refine the edges of your selection. So when you have a selection like this, you're essentially just making a pixel selection, and then you're saying, I want you to reveal these pixels and I want you not to reveal other pixels. And when you have a brush with a feather, there's this gradation between where the pixels are being selected all the way to the fade off. And that's kind of how things start to blend in images. And it gives a really flattering look in many cases. However, ON1 Photo RAW 2026 has given us the ability to refine our mask in a way that we haven't really had in other versions. So to get there, what we're going to do is come back to our target mask because we want the overall mask to get this refinement. You don't want to do this refinement on the brush or the quick mask AI tool because it's not going to give you what you want. But you can hit these 3-line menus, and then the very first option is refine mask. So when you select that, you're going to get a pop-up, and I'll just put this over here and you'll see what this does to the overall image. The first thing that we're going to do is shift the edge. If I pull this to the right, you can see it starts to like move closer in to the selected pixels. And if I pull this to the left, it starts to bring back more of the image outside of the selection. So you'll go in whichever direction you need to go in for your particular image. But for this one, I think pulling it to the right a little bit to tighten up that edge is going to give us a better selection here. And then you can also play with the levels. Now, the levels are, really hit and miss, but typically, if the background was brighter, you're going to want to pull down on the brightest point, so that way it starts to remove that from the selection. And let me zoom into the roof of the car here. Let me just hit OK, because you can't zoom while you have the refine tools open. And so we'll open up the refinement tool again, put this over here, and I want you to watch the top part of the car here. When I pull this down, you can see how that line is just getting a little bit more crisp. It's getting a little bit more sharp. And that's doing that around the entire frame of the mask or the border of the mask. But it's really noticeable here because we use that brush with 100% feather. So as you refine your mask, you can definitely make things a little bit more clean, so to speak. And then if you pull up on the dark point here, it'll also help out a little bit. But this is coming, you typically don't need to use that one. I typically only use the middle node here to work with my transition. And then I use the white point if I have a really bright background. I bring that down, and then I just wiggle this little middle node around until I get something that makes the most sense. And you'll know if you need to repaint, like this area right here. I need to repaint in this area to make that selection better. Probably the same thing with this area here. I need to repaint to make that part of the selection better as well. And, this is just a part of making cutouts and advanced masking. So once you have all of that good to go, you need to hit OK whenever you work in the refine mask window. If you click on the X up here, it's not going to save the work that you did, and you're going to be frustrated because then you got to go back and tweak that stuff again. So hit OK, make sure it saves it, and then we'll hit Command and 0 to zoom out. And now we have a cutout of the car. So that's the way you would cut out the car using ON1 Photo RAW and the masking tools that are available to you inside of the layer mask. If you found value in today's video, go ahead and smash that like button and consider subscribing if you're new. If you want to pick up ON1 Photo RAWs, save a little bit of money, consider using the coupon code FreeWillPhotos20. And you can also check out the link in the description box below. I do make a small commission from everyone who uses it, but it's at no extra charge to you, and it's a win-win and great way of supporting the channel. Now, if you want to learn how to use ON1 Photo RAW and get like one-on-one training, then consider signing up for a call with me. A link for that can be found in the description box below. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.